Hey, what's up, you bums? Welcome back. So this is Scott here, and today we're going to talk about the actual LVO tournament itself, because we need to understand how the tournament was played and the rules that were in place to do a better analysis of the list. Because if you're going to be playing in your own tournament, wherever you are, and you're playing something wildly different than what's going on in LVO, you're going to have much different results, I think, in most cases. A powerful list is a powerful list, especially in this game. However, if you have a completely different rule set, you're going to have a wildly different experience. So now I think that it has LVO had a bunch of very popular rules and a lot of rules as intended. See the I tournament and house rules. A lot of people play by rules similar to this. I think that these rules and guidelines are probably a little more stricter than, say, at your local hobby shop, because they want you to have must be on round bases. A lot of people are still playing on the little square bases and stuff at a lot of different shops and things. But when you go down there, you have to be on the rounds, because it's easy to get an unfair advantage with certain configurations of your army. I think one of the things that comes to mind is when you have a large rectangle base. If you simply spin the model so that the corner of a rectangle is closer now to your opponent, does that take up movement? I think it should, but things like that create issues. Now, if you have a round base, it's not exactly going to do that. However, there are oval bases, so you still have that issue of spinning a model but not moving it. But you get rid of a lot of those questions when you completely eliminate square, rectangle bases. Also, I saw a guy once play with Croxagores, and he cut all of his Croxagores in half, and then his base looked like water, so it looked like the Croxagores are going through a swamp. Now, that is awesome when it comes to hobbying, but when it comes to actually playing the game, that's not so awesome, because now it's much easier to hide that unit. And when you're at a tournament like LVO, that's unfair, and nobody wants to spend all that money going to Las Vegas, say if you live in Texas or something, just to get screwed over by a guy playing a giant unit of Croxagores that he could never see. So now at your local hobby shop, it's not so bad. You just kind of woke up that morning and went there, maybe paid $10 to play in a tournament, and who cares? The guy is trying to use a unit of Croxagores in some shady way. But still, the principle is the same. It's kind of annoying if you're a tournament player to experience something like that and then also lose by something like that. And then with the current culture of Warhammer, nobody really wants to complain. Nobody wants to sit there and complain, oh, well, you had an unfair advantage because your unit was modeled in a pose that made him much smaller. That's where you see the toxicity of a Warhammer community. Oh, I can't believe you're complaining. You're so competitive. Win at all costs, right? Well, no, I just wanted a fair tournament. But anyways, you really got to read into this stuff, and that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna read a little bit into this, and then we're gonna go and yeah, here it is. Realm rules. Let me move this to the right here on my tabs. You can't see. Every round had a little different rules, right? There was hidden objectives, special rules, and I believe a lot of these came out before the tournament, so you could see what you're up against. Especially this document here. This document came out very far before the tournament came out, and then you're able to read through the house rules, the round steps, and then into the different battle plans. So you don't really need to think, well, he could have played on this battle plan. No, we know exactly what battle plans we had. We know exactly what maps we played on. We know all the extra commands. And if you had your list tailored to stuff like this, you knew every round, okay, in the second round I'll be on Akshi, and my wizard's going to be able to know Infernal Blades. Or I'm going to have this Fire Starter command ability. And if your opponent's not paying attention, he's not going to know that he has his command ability until it's too late. You're going to be able to, I'm going to use my Fire Starter command ability, and your opponent's like, What? What command ability is that? Oh yeah, we're an Akshi. And then you're gonna have, if you're a tournament player, you should have this printed off, right? Showed up to the tournament with this already printed off. And then you could also have your notes down here so that you know what you're doing. Okay? So we need to know how they played and what they did so that we can better analyze the lists. Okay, so without further ado, let's go ahead and start off. iTournament House rules. 2,000 point list using rules restrictions provided by the pitch battle section of the General's Handbook. Models should be WYSIWYG. Painting is required. Three colors. Any kind of ability you can choose before the game must be chosen before the event and recorded on your army roster clearly. So when you're playing against your opponent, look at his roster. When he says he's using something that's not on his roster, you gotta call him out, okay? Because he might be doing it on purpose or on accident. We're gonna assume they did it on accident, because that's proper in competitive gaming, not just wargaming or playing Magic the Gathering or something. Realm artifacts and realm spells will be used as outlined in Malign Sorcery. So again, our guy who, if you watched my other video, he took a relic from Gur, and he also had all the Gur spells available to him. Okay? Realms of battle rules will be used. The Realms and Realmscape feature will be used in this event. See attached rules. Okay? So that's where this comes into play. Okay? Round 1, we're in Shyish. You get this Realmscape feature has no effect on the battle. Terrain features have the Sinister Scenery rule in addition to any other scenery rules they have. So everything is sinister. Everything's got -1 bravery. If you're bringing an army with low bravery, like Disciples of Tzeentch, you're going to have a rough, first battle round because your guys are running around trying to dodge this because your guys already have low bravery as it is. Eternal War. Add 1 to the bravery characteristics of all units. You're going to have 1 bravery characteristic, so when you're away from scenery, you're going to be more brave. So think about it that way. I know I probably just contradicted myself by bringing in Disciples of Tzeentch, but if you're in the terrain feature, right, and you're getting -1, and your opponent's not in the terrain feature, they're getting a +1. Your guys are running, their guys are not, okay? So let's see. Endless spells will be used at the event, obviously, we know that. Any rules out of the weekend before the event are unusable at the event. Any FAQ posted 2 days before the event is in effect unless it changes point values, then it must be posted a week before the event. Okay? Models must be on round basis. We already went through that. The mysterious landscape rules will be used for any piece of terrain. If the terrain has any special rule, you may use them if both players agree. So both players agree. So some players might come in, oh yeah, we're using this, right? We're using this. Well, if it's not to your advantage, you should say, no, I do not agree, and it will not be used. Models or terrain that cannot be engaged due to any special rule may not block or hold objectives. Models or terrain that cannot be engaged due to any special rule may not block or hold objectives, as long as that restriction is in place, changeling, etc. So your changeling that's hiding around your opponent's forces is not obviously going to be able to hold an objective. Or block, I guess, from holding an objective. Okay, Age of Sigmar round steps. So this is just how you would go through the round. It's not really too much different than a lot of other things. But let's read 3-4. Bloodthirsty. Once per battle, when a friendly unit is selected to shoot or fight, you can say that is bloodthirsty. If you do so, reroll failed wound rolls for that unit to the end of the phase. 5/6 Indomitable. So that's when your opponent has more points left over. The guy who won with Flesh-Eater Courts had no points left over, so he would never have been able to roll on the Triumph table. So if you have few points, now if you have 50 less points, so if you have 1950 points, you actually get 1 extra command point for that. And you will very high likely be able to also roll on the Triumph table. So are those 50 points you're not taking worth a command point and worth a Triumph? It's something to, keep in mind. Step 4, blah, 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 blah. Now, this is the different points, hidden agendas. So points is why the Flesh-Eater Court player won. He got a major victory every turn. So at the end of the game, determine who won the battle plan, put in the points scored from the table below, then record the points killed. put the results into becuase pairing app, and turn in the results. So a major loss is 0 points. A major victory is 12 points. Hidden objective is plus 3 points. Okay. So hidden objectives. After both armies have been set up, but before the battle begins, you must secretly pick one of the hidden objectives to apply to your army for the battle. Okay. You must record this on the round's battle plan score sheet by writing it down in the line provided. When you complete the hidden agenda, reveal the hidden agenda you chose. You can only choose each hidden agenda once during the event. Okay, so you just pick one of these, and you're going to pick the one that obviously best helps you win. So, for example, say you picked, I'm not just going to pick one at random, conserve. You complete this hidden agenda if at least 1/3 of the units from your starting army, rounding up, have not been destroyed and are on the battlefield at the end of the battle. Okay, so at least 1/3 of the units from your starting army. Boom. All you gotta have is 1/3. So if you got 9 units, if 3 of them survive, you have the hidden agenda. And hidden objective, 3 points. Okay? You need to score as many points as possible. The maximum points you can score is 15 points. It's a major victory plus 3 points hidden objective. Now, if you want to win the event, you need to score high. If you win your matches, if you get minor victory all the way through, and you only keep scoring 9 points, well, the Feck player who won got 15 points every round, and you only get 9, you might not even make that top 8 cut. So you could win all your matches, but you're not going to win the tournament, obviously. You need to score, you need to not only win, but you need to win high to win these tournaments, because not every undefeated player got into the top 8. Keep that in mind. And then round 1, AOS total commitment. So we're just going to go through the first one, and then you can see how you would read and go through everyone after that, and then you can apply these same principles to your own analysis. First thing, provide your army list to your opponent, blah, blah, blah. Okay, got it. Settle the terrain around the table. Okay, we already know the setup. I mean, it's just setting up a table. A lot of tables will already be set up, minus, the terrain-wise. But you can adjust terrain if it must be adjusted, right? Setup. The players roll off, and the winner decides which territory each side will use. The territories are shown on the map below. The players then alternate setting up units one at a time, starting with the player that won the roll-off. Units must be set up wholly within their own territory. Blah, blah, blah. Continue to set up units. Choose your hidden agenda for the battle, and right at the bottom. So you will choose your hidden agenda. No reserves. In this battle, all units must be set up on the battlefield before the battle begins. Any unit that is set up on reserve is destroyed, and all the models in the unit are slain. So think about that. Round 1, there are no reserves. So, the Flesh Eater Court player did have reserves, but he didn't have to have reserves. So you're going to have to set up all your junk on the battlefield, okay? Objectives. This battle is fought to control 4 objectives. 2 objectives located in each player's territory as shown on the map. Glorious victory. The player with the most victory points at the end of the 5th battle round, or when a lot of time runs out, wins a major victory. So a major victory is what? 12 points. You're 3 points away from the 15 you need. If the players are tied on victory points at the end of the game, each player adds up the points value of any enemies that have been destroyed during the battle. If one player has a higher total, they win a minor victory. Okay, so you need more opponents. Don't draw with your opponent. Unless you're in the top 8 cut and you're doing a, if you're in Swiss, you don't want to be getting to a draw. A minor victory is going to destroy your points value a lot, okay? Victory points. Each player scores victory points at the end of each of their turns for each objective they control. For each objective the player controls in their own territory, it's 1 point. For each objective they control and their opponents is 3 points. So you need to hold yours and take your opponents at the same time. So having a high model count is really going to help you in this. Having models that move very fast. Flesh Eater Courts with the chromatic cogs. They move very, very fast. So next up is the Shyish. You just read through these, and honestly, you just have to read through them, know when you could use them, because a lot of these are mostly very situational stuff. It's not, most of these aren't like, I need to use this every turn all the time, balls to the wall. A lot of them aren't like that. They're very situational. So read through those, and then you'll be able to do your own analysis. So I didn't get to this, so we're going to have to do another part 2 video. Yeah, because I'm a bum. I ain't got nothing better to do.